All right, really quick tutorial here on picking shagbark hickory nuts, one of my favorite nuts. There's a lot of things to go over here. There's going to be a lot of images with voiceover over it just because there's so many details. Basically, in the fall, like late September, I'm going to start checking out my shagbark hickory spots. And harvesting and scouting is the first part. I like to find areas where I can see there's lots of old nut husks on the ground. The biggest thing though, you want trees that are at the edge of the woods or in a logged area where there's open area around them. This is because if you find trees in the deep woods, animals love to pick the nuts. And in open areas, there's predation and they're going to be less apt to go into the open areas. So you're going to find more nuts there. So don't go into the deep woods. When I find a good patch, I like to hear nuts falling en masse. I like to hear the nuts falling while I'm picking, and you should be seeing tons of nuts all over the ground. There should be just absolutely gobs of them everywhere. And when I'm picking, I like to crack a few open just to make sure that they're looking good. So just crack a couple open to the rock or something and check. Okay, early drop versus ripe nuts. Some nuts are going to drop first. The trees like aborted these or cast them off for some reason. You don't want those ones. Those are on the left. They're going to be lighter in weight and basically hollow or have some kind of problems. I'll get into how you can remove those in a little bit by floating. But you don't want to pick those, but it's easy to have them mixed in. So be careful to not pick dried or very lightweight nuts. Those can also have bug damage like you see right there. They should be perfect inside. Undeveloped or aborted nuts, that can happen too. That's what they look like. They're kind of dried out. You don't want to eat those. Any nuts that have holes, you do not want to pick them. You can also see this didn't want to remove from the husk. Processing. After you harvest a whole bunch of nuts, all you have to do is remove them from the husk. And it's important to remember here that the nuts should want to remove freely. They should want to come out of the husk. They should come out easily. Any nuts that do not, there could be something wrong with them. So, feel free to discard those. You want perfect living nuts here. The nuts are a living thing. And once I've removed them, I will make sure to check for holes too. That's what the grub looks like. The hickory nut grub. Again, they should look perfect just like that. Don't feel bad about cracking some open to check while you work. Just really important to have good nuts. And floating, you can put the nuts into a tub with water with a whole bunch of water on them and bad nuts will float, or dried nuts. After I float them and discard any ones that float, I'm going to put them on racks and dry them out. And that'll take about a week. I like to put a fan on them. Then hickory nuts have a short shelf life after they're dried, so you want to freeze them. I have a huge freezer, so this is easy for me. You might have to put them into a jar or something, but keep them in the freezer, otherwise they'll go bad. Cracking. I don't do a lot of this, but you can do it. You want to get an X. Hit them on the flat side with a hammer, get an X, and then you want a pair of snips and a little nut pick, and you can pick the nuts out. Use the snips to spot treat any hard areas to free those nuts out, just like other nuts, and boom, that's a half of a hickory nut. And you can even get whole ones sometimes if you are very, very careful or if the nuts are fresh. Hickory nut milk is another really cool thing, what I make with most of my nuts, because it revolves no shelling. You bash the nuts up and then grind them up, cook them in water, and it makes nut milk. And there's a lot more on that and a whole lot more on my website. This is just a quick tutorial, so I hoped I piqued your interest on hickory nuts.